Welcome to Islamic Knowledge Hub, authentic Islamic teachings, wisdom, and inspiration. Subscribe and grow with knowledge.
You know, what if I told you there's a hidden layer to the Quran? Not just a spiritual message, but a mathematical one. A world of incredible patterns and symmetries that some people believe could only be the work of a divine author. Let's dig in and take a closer look.
So this is really the big question we're tackling. Is there a hidden numerical code, a deliberate and intricate design embedded right into the Quran that goes way beyond the words themselves? Let's dive in and see what the numbers say. All right, before we get to the truly mind-bending patterns, we got to start with the basics, right? We need to lay the groundwork. What are the fundamental numbers that actually make up the Quran structure?
Okay, so we've got 114 chapters, or surahs, and over 6,000 verses. Pretty standard stuff. But check out that last line. The Arabic word for month, which is shahr, appears exactly 12 times. Yep, a perfect one-to-one match with the months in a year. Is that a coincidence? Well, maybe, but it's a pretty fascinating place to start.
But honestly, that's just a little taste. The real magic, the part that gets a little wild, is when we start looking at the idea of balance. The Quran is just full of these contrasting concepts, and when you look at how often those words appear, well, that's where the patterns get really interesting. So, let's kick things off with something we all get, a single day. The Arabic word for it is yawm. So go on, take a guess. How many times do you think the Quran mentions the word day?
Unbelievably, the answer is 365, exactly the number of days in a year. I mean, that alone is pretty incredible, right? But the story definitely doesn't stop there.
This is where that whole theme of balance really shines. If day is mentioned 365 times, what about its opposite, night? You guessed it. It's also mentioned exactly 365 times. It's like a perfect, symmetrical year is woven right into the fabric of the text itself. And it's not just us pulling these numbers out of thin air. The Quran itself actually talks about day and night as being two distinct signs from God, just like we see in this verse here. The numerical pattern seems to perfectly echo the spiritual message.
Okay, so the natural world, day and night, seems to be in perfect balance. But what about the spiritual world? Does this amazing symmetry carry over to huge concepts like, say, heaven and hell? You might think, okay, this is where the pattern has to break down. But it doesn't. The word for heaven, Jannah, appears 77 times. And the word for hell, Jahannam, you got it, also 77 times. A perfect and kind of chilling balance between ultimate reward and ultimate punishment.
So, we've seen these incredible pairs, these symmetries. Now, let's zoom in a little and look at some of the most important individual words in the Quran. What can their frequencies tell us? Now, it's probably not going to shock you to hear that the most important and most frequent word in the entire Quran is the name of God. But the sheer number of times it's mentioned is still pretty staggering. The name Allah shows up almost 2,700 times. That is an absolutely incredible number, and it leaves zero doubt about what the central focus of the entire text is. But check this out, because this is what's really telling. Compare that massive number to others. Rahman, which means the merciful, one of God's key attributes, is mentioned 57 times, and Shaytan, or Satan, only 88 times. The message here seems pretty clear. The focus is overwhelmingly on God's mercy and power, not on the forces of evil. So where do we as people fit into all of this? Well, the word for human or mankind, which is Insan, appears 65 times. It's almost like a reminder that even though the focus is on God, humanity still has a really crucial role to play in this whole divine story. So we've looked at the numbers, we've seen these amazing patterns, and it all leads to the big question. What does it all mean? Are we just looking at a series of really incredible coincidences, or is this some kind of evidence of a deliberate, intelligent design?
I mean, just think about it for a second. Day and night, 365 times each. Heaven and hell, 77 times each. Month, 12 times. The precision is just astonishing. It's like a universe of perfect balance, all expressed through simple word counts.
So what are we supposed to make of all this? For some, these patterns are nothing less than proof of divine authorship. For others, they're just fascinating coincidences found in a complex text. The truth is, the numbers themselves don't give us the answer. They just leave us with a sense of wonder and a question for you. What do you believe?